Hi, we have Delta Airlines bonds and stocks. I'm Briajah, and I partnered up with Brenna and Lauren. So our key takeaways from our presentation is to introduce the Delta Airlines company, review Delta Airlines capital structure, explain a specific bond the company has, evaluate the stock price over time by looking at a time series graph, discuss whether we perceive this company to be good potential investment. Delta is the oldest operating airline in the United States. Delta can operate over 5,400 flights a day. Now we are going to look at the five different sets of ratios and how they compare to the air travel industries. Now let's take a minute to review our market value and leverage ratios from the last PowerPoint. For market value ratios, which are financial metrics that help investors assess the value of a company's stock by comparing its market price to its financial performance and position, we just have our graphs from our last PowerPoint. And for leverage ratios, which is a type of financial measurement used in finance, business, and economics to evaluate the level of debt relative to another financial metric, these are graphs from our last PowerPoint.
Okay, analyzing the stock and bonds of Delta Airports. So the stocks. After declaring bankruptcy at the end of April in 2007, Delta decided to issue shares. In doing so, they issued around 400 million shares, which were broken down to many different creditors. They issued common stock shares, which were sold at starting price of $18.97 and ended at the day stock price of $22.35. Looking at their bonds, the effect of COVID-19, Delta saw a chance for opportunity. In the event to strengthen its liquidity position, the company issued bonds on April 29, 2020. They raised about $9 billion and became the largest debt offering in airline history. Their bonds matured in January of this year. They had a coupon rate of 7%, a par value of $1,000, and they didn't have any sinking funds or convertibility. They have a current rating of Moody's of a Baa2. This is a change from their previous Baa3. This reflects that they're a moderate risk. Looking at the stock price fluctuations, the increase and decrease of the stock price shows the fluctuation throughout the years. Recently, within the last year, the stock price has made an all-time high of close to $70. With the events that have been surrounding Delta, it has reflected in the decrease of stock price of just under $45. Looking at the causes, as I just spoke about, these events are listed here. They're most recently in February of this year, with the Delta crash landing from Minneapolis to Toronto resulted in a decrease of stock by $6. And January stock rose with better than expected IQ Q1 results. With the lack of management guidance, it nearly fell 35%. For just examples.
Now we're going to focus on the common changes in Delta's company performance and how it is affecting the stock price. Stock prices tend to fluctuate based on the year-end and quarterly results, depending if Delta meets or misses its performance targets. Their participation in these customer opportunities also helps to increase profit and company performance. These include their royalty programs and flying rewards. Their seasonal travel also tends to increase during the Christmas season and during the summer. The current global economic uncertainty also affects Delta's performance, including passenger and carrier travel. We are going to switch gears and focus on Delta's return on investments. Return on investment is a profitability metric used to evaluate how well an investment has performed. First, we're going to take a look at the table on the screen. This table represents Delta's stock price as the day of the IPO was issued 3 years from today, 2 years from today, 1 year from today, 1 month from today, 1 week from today, and today's stock price. These figures was found as today's date being April 10th of 2025. Next, looking at the graph, we calculated Delta's Airlines return on investment. Return on investment is calculated by taking the change in the stock price divided by the current price. From the visual, you can see that the return on investments is pretty consistent with small fluctuations. You can notice that on April 10th of 2024 and March 10th of 2025, the return on investment is lower than 0%, which means that today's stock price is extremely lower than the adjusted price that was recorded on those specific days. On the next slide, we will discuss the pros and cons and whether if we think this company is good to invest in. Some of the notable pros and cons are as follows. Pros being it's good investment for future and long-term growth. There has been recent shift towards premium travel, which includes the loyalty and rewards programs. Delta keeps a portion of its earnings for reinvestment. They also have increased in growth opportunities with developing many new technologies. And our cons being many specific challenges that Delta faces, including the rising fuel costs and regulatory procedures. The airline industry is highly sensitive to economic fluctuations, and Delta also can struggle to meet its short-term obligations given their quick and current ratio. Overall, we feel that Delta is a good company investment due to it being moderately low risk. Overall, Delta Airlines has a strong capital structure. Bonds have helped increase Delta's market stability over the years. Stock prices are also steady and back on the uphill. And Delta Airlines is a large, well-established airline with a strong track record. And these are our references. Thank you.